Hi, this is Dominic Keating. I played Lieutenant Malcolm Reed on Enterprise, as you probably know, and you are listening to the NX 7062 podcast. Enjoy.
Yes, you are listening to this NX 7062 podcast. Let me get that mic out of my face. I'm used to having it in my face for other things that I do, but you guys want to see me, not the microphone. Hello. Welcome to NX 7062, the podcast. And welcome Nancy and Dave and Erica and Jeanine. And it is so good to see everybody. I love the fact that my little chat pack 2. Oh, and Robert. I think I saw Robert scroll by earlier. Hello, Chat Pack 2.0. So glad to see you all here. Happy Monday to everybody. I hope you all had a really good start to your week, just like Erica said. See, I am watching you, and thank you for saying that, Erica. I hope to have a great show too. And you know what? When you guys are all here, that just makes it that much greater. So thank you for all being here. Okay, so let's start off with who else is going through Shuttlepod show withdrawal besides me? I think we all are, and it's okay. It's okay. Let's not forget that Mark has mentioned in a few posts that he wants to deliver a quality show, and sometimes delivering a quality show, unfortunately, cannot happen in the time allotted to him to get it out to us on 20. Thanks, Dave. Merry Trekmas and Happy Hanukkah. I love that. So Mark does not want to, like I said, he doesn't want to put out a product that is not the highest of high quality. So if we all have to wait because there's glitches or because there were licensing issues, that's okay, because just think what we have to look forward to, which is the watch party, because I believe he said he's fixed that. So the watch party with David Livingston. I almost said Dave Gregory because you're sitting here. Dave Livingston and Shuttlepod 1, and the George Takei interview that was supposed to happen yesterday. It is all going to be for 2 amazing shows. It is going to be absolutely worth the wait. So we just need to bear with Mark and respect his artistic integrity that he does not want to deliver a subpar show, and he wants to make sure that all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. So as we all know, it is 2 weeks till the big holiday, 2 weeks to Christmas. Not everybody out there celebrates Christmas, so whatever you're celebrating, if you're celebrating, I hope you have a fantastic one. And I thought that it would be a good time to talk about holidays in Trek, because you don't see it a lot. For those of you that don't know, and I'd be very surprised if anybody in my audience didn't. Yeah, exactly, Janine. Their waiting's worth it. Gene Roddenberry was an atheist. He went to church as a kid and just decided, you know what? As soon as I can stop going, this isn't for me. So he kept Star Trek very secular. Although we know there were episodes like Who Mourns an Adonis, where they mentioned God. And there were a couple others while I was doing my research where religion and God did come into it. But it seemed like holidays like Christmas and stuff were only kind of memories. They weren't celebrated. You didn't see a lot of celebrating. Most of the references to holidays were just, oh, well, back on Earth in the old days, they did this. What's really funny is while I was looking this up, and we're talking about, Christmas references within Star Trek, we all, of course, know that Generations had Picard at a huge family gathering when he was in the Nexus for Christmas, and it was absolutely beautiful. That tree was gorgeous. It was absolutely beautiful. So since Gene Roddenberry has passed, some things have begun to come in on a more noticeable level, like Christmas. Christmas is still an Earth tradition. Picard's family celebrated Christmas. But the other thing that that I was reminded about as I was researching this was in A Night in Sick Bay. At one point, when Archer is completely frustrated with the Cardassians making him do all these demands to apologize for Porthos, peeing on their sacred trees, and he said, of their reconciliation demands, he said, maybe I should be standing on one foot with my eyes shut reciting The Night Before Christmas. So obviously Christmas is part of the lexicon, and it's part of it's still part of our society into the future, just maybe not as big a part, and not, back in the 60s when every other show was doing big Christmas specials. You really didn't see that a lot on Star Trek. You really didn't see it. It was really kind of tucked away. Let's see, what else were they? Yeah, I mean, it was mentioned. You really didn't see celebrations except let's see. Dave says, true, they don't slap you over the face with it. Exactly. But faith, religious holiday points comes more into the script and into the world building. Yes, it's definitely there, but like you said, it wasn't really a huge part of it. And I think a lot of that had to do with Roddenberry's view of, utopia comes with, like a non-currency, as I think the quote was like a non-profit type of society, and religion's also taken out of the equation. And if you take religion out of the equation, the holidays would obviously go too. But like I said, there are absolutely references in TOS every now and then about, that have to do with religion. And let us not forget, what does God need with a starship? So religion is absolutely part of the galaxy. And that was the other thing I read that was interesting was a quote from Brandon Braga about how religion's more interesting if you explore it through alien cultures. And with religion comes religious holidays. So hence we get in Deep Space Nine the Bajorans. And honestly, what really surprised me is, while I was looking, and I'm going to admit, Memory Alpha is, the Bible that you go to, the Bible that you go to when you're looking for Star Trek anythings. And the Bajoran list of holidays, there were only 3. As religious as the Bajorans were, and I thought, I loved the Bajoran. I love that they brought that in. I thought it was beautiful the way they did it. I thought it was really well written, and it just surprises me that with all of the what's the word I'm looking for? With how centralized Bajorans were with their religious beliefs, there's only actually 3 Bajoran holidays, at least the ones that are in Memory Alpha. The time of cleansing, which is time of cleansing, custom in the Bajoran religion during which people fasted for a month and abstained from worldly pleasures. Sounds like a little bit of a mix between Lent and is it I'm terrible with is it Ramadan, the one where where Muslims fast, you just fast during the day and then you eat at night. So that's definitely kind of a mix of the two of those, unless I'm wrong, and Ramadan also includes that, which is entirely possible. Like I said, I am not by any means a religious scholar. Let's see. And then there was, oh my gosh. The Bajorans had a gratitude festival, which I think is great. I love that idea. And then there's one celebrating the anniversary of the arrival of the emissary of the prophets called Hamara. So, but there was, so I just, like I said, I was just really surprised. Even going back to the Balance of Terror, where you get to see Chapel on the ship, and she had, oop, 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 oop. Okay, all right, you know what? Back it up. This is what I was trying to do. Click, come on, share Dave's comment. Woohoo! Even going back to Balance of Terror, we get to see a chapel on a ship. Yes, exactly. I found that too in my research. There was a cross, I think, in that chapel when he was doing the wedding ceremony. Hello, Magic Lasso. We're having a holiday show, and he is doing the perfect thing. He is watching and wrapping presents. And there's a reason that I wanted Lasso to come tonight. I asked him to come to the show tonight. And that was absolutely because I want to give Lasso a shout out, because last year we taped a show, right, Lasso? We taped a show for the holidays about gifting and collecting and all that kind of fun stuff. And it is still up on the YouTube channel. And I just might need to share that link, because that was a great show. We had so much fun talking about collecting and gifting and things on our little combined effort there. Dave just watched The Bajoran Festival cleaning and a test of faith with having a second emissary arrive. Oh, yeah. I remember that. Don't remember who that was, but I remember that episode. I am so bad. Unless it's Enterprise related, I haven't really rewatched it, and I admit it. Kronos, the Klingons had two holidays. Of course, as a warrior race, they had to have a day of honor, which was where a warrior evaluated his or her deeds for the past year to see whether he had been honorable. It was customary to serve rokeg blood pie on this day. Day of honor was, yep. So, of course, the Klingons, I mean, being warriors is basically their religion. So, of course, they had to have a holiday around that. And then there was the Kotobal Festival, was a Klingon festival that honored the defeat of the tyrant Motor by Kahless the Unforgettable. And that makes sense that they worship at the feet of Kahless as well, because they are a warrior race. Enterprise, then all the other series. Yep, pretty much. It's Enterprise followed by TOS, then everything else. I'm pretty good with TOS and then everything else. Yes, that's right. The Klingons did kill their gods. I forgot about that. You are absolutely spot on. Honestly, this was supposed to be just like holidays, but of course, when you talk about holidays, a lot of holidays have their bases in religion. And let's face it, there are secular holidays, and even the secular holidays didn't get too much play. In the original series. We're going to get to secular holidays, trust me. The Vulcans have holidays as well. They have 3 listed. Kolrek was a holiday observed on the planet. Kolrek to the Vulcans was a day of atonement, solitude, and silence. There was no season leading up to the holiday. You know what? That's really interesting. Considering the fact, that's really interesting. You could almost say that leans towards Yom Kippur. And yeah, I like that. And listen, a Day of Atonement, I've always thought a Day of Atonement, where you sit back and reflect. I've always thought that was a fabulous idea. Romari was an ancient pagan festival on the planet Vulcan that was last observed during the 14th century. Dun, 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 because don't forget, at one point, Vulcans were not logical creatures, but very base creatures. And of course, the Tal Shinar was the Vulcan spiritual practice that they rarely allowed outsiders to see. Unless you're Dr. Phlox and you were invited to the now I can't remember the Vulcan place on Earth. Oh my God. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I have had quite the Monday. So the compound. That's the word I was looking for, compound. I knew I'd get there eventually. Earth holidays that are Star Trek specific are things like First Contact Day, which is April 4th, which we are all celebrating in the negative because we're celebrating the fact that it's about to happen in 2063. And that was, of course, the holiday that celebrates us meeting the Vulcans. Or unless you're in the mirror universe, us defeating the Vulcans and stealing all of their weapons and starting the Terran Empire. What other? Oh, let's see. Federation Day. And then, of course, there's a celebration of Federation Day, celebration commemorating the founding of the United Federation of Planets. So they did introduce holidays that were Star Trek specific, which is really nice. And like I said, I mean, there were mentions of other holidays throughout all of the Star Treks. They kind of allude back to holidays, but they never celebrate them. You never see really, except for, like I said, in Generations, when did we ever really see them celebrate Halloween? Halloween gets a mention. The other thing that I read that I found really interesting was that while in City on the Edge of Forever, Edith Keeler ran that mission, which in her time period, those missions were church-based. They were faith-based missions, but she never mentioned anything about her faith, just talked in general about kindness and ending the war and general things and that's the thing. I mean, when you sit down and look at it, I mean, be kind. Hashtag be kind is really, the message of a lot of religions. But like I said, Gene Roddenberry did not have very fond views of religion. So obviously religious based things like Christmas, Easter, etc. wouldn't really get too much notice, but they did sneak into some of the scripts. You know what? And and then of course there's Captain Picard Day, which for some reason is not on here. But let us not forget there is also a Captain Picard Day. So it seems that it seems like all of the holidays that are Star Trek based are based on events. Like July 4th is based on an event. Let's see. Ancestors Eve was a holiday created by the USS Voyager's morale officer Neelix. Oh, I remember that. Believe it or not, I watched that episode. It wasn't terrible. Yeah, remember he created that holiday because of Captain Janeway's disappointment in her ancestors. That was actually not a bad episode. So Ancestors Eve was a Neelix-based created holiday. I wonder if they brought that home with them. I wonder if they tried to see if that would catch on. Let's see, what else is there? There's personal holidays. I'm married to the most wonderful woman in the galaxy, according to Miles O'Brien. Yeah, I mean, there's a naming day on Ferenginar. Anniversaries, birthdays. I mean, obviously those things were celebrated. I'm not sure you'd call those holidays, but it just seems like, there are holidays. I really seriously expected for them to have mentioned more Bajoran holidays. I mean, but I guess when you sit down and look at it in our calendar, there are only a few major religious holidays per religion. If you sit down and think about it, and then the rest of them are all celebrations of something secular, like Memorial Day and Labor Day, Labor Day, July 4th, Father's Day, Mother's Day. Those are all, constructs based on events, not on religious observances. So actually, now that I am sitting here yapping at you guys, I am thinking that maybe that actually is the right balance to strike when you're talking about religious holidays, to only have like 3 major religious holidays and then the rest of the holidays. Early episode, Gene Roddenberry did the voice of Chef, and Kirk wanted him to create something that could pass as turkeys for Thanksgiving. Okay, there you go. Yeah, Thanksgiving is on the list of things that were talked about. TOS early episode, Gene Roddenberry did the voice of the chef, and I love that. Did not know that, Nancy. Thank you. Want him to create something that could pass as turkeys for Thanksgiving. That's really cool. Do you remember what episode there was? Later there were real turkeys. Did everybody have a nice Thanksgiving? I know that feels like forever ago. God, it's like I said, it's literally 2 weeks till Christmas now. For those of you that are celebrating, and since I know it is a big, obviously I know what a huge holiday is, and I hope everybody has the most amazing plans. I am taking Christmas and New Year's off. And then I'm hoping to start the new year with gifts to you of more incredible guests. I mean, what better way for me to kind of kick off December than with John Billingsley and Bonnie Federici talking about Hollywood Food Coalition, because around this time of year, people's thoughts definitely turn to putting out good in the world and doing good works. You should be thinking about this 365, but obviously this time of the year, it seems like everybody's thinking about what to do. And while dropping a couple dollars in the Salvation Army bucket is great, I know Uncle Hairball actually posted on last week's show. He went and he took John's advice. He found a nearby food bank of some sort. He filled out his volunteer application and he went and dropped it off, I think, the next day. I think he dropped it off last Tuesday. So seriously, that is something that everybody should be thinking about year round, but I know our thoughts turn to good works more so during the holiday season. So it was the very first episode aired. The very first episode aired was Man Trap. So I will have to go back and watch it. Yeah, that is pretty awesome sauce, right, Dave? It is pretty much awesome sauce. And I know Nancy and I were talking about the fact another holiday that is fantastic to celebrate is Shuttlepod Show Live, which last year celebrated the original air date of Shuttlepod Show the episode, as well as when the Shuttlepod show came into existence and came into our lives. This year it is in April. It's April 12th, 13th, and 14th. That's something else that Mark is looking at making perfect when he posts. So I know right now there's not really a live ticket. There's not really a live site to purchase tickets, but it is coming, and hopefully it will be coming soon. So you guys can all trek out to LA. Haha, yes, pun intended. How much do I love LA? Can't wait. Can't wait. I usually try and spend at least a week out there. For me, going out to LA for just a little bit. Charlie X. All right. That had the real turkeys. I am going to have to sit down and rewatch a bunch of these TOS episodes based on what I'm looking at. Even April Fool's Day is listed here. Because Brothers, the TNG episode Brothers, April Fool's Day came up because they were discussing practical jokes. So, yep. So, see, they're still in the lexicon. It's just, who celebrates it? Yep. Hollywood Food Co. Yep. That might be on my list when I'm out in LA. When I go out to LA, I usually stay for a week. I didn't want to say anything last week because my plans still are up in the air. I haven't actually booked a flight or a place to stay yet while I'm out there. But assuming that I do, if I find time to do Hollywood, which I know it's worth finding the time, but I actually go out there for a week and I actually work. Like I don't take off work for the week. I work remotely, so I can go out, take my laptop out to LA with me and actually work. The beauty is that my hours are East Coast. So I just wake up really early and work until 5 o'clock on the East Coast, which is only 2 o'clock in LA. And then I've got the entire day. So that's my plan for April, is to go out, work a little bit, LA a little bit, and just enjoy it. And I know there's some fantastic stuff Mark is building on what he did last year. So everything that worked last year, everything that was so amazing last year, like table reads of a Neil Simon play and an episode or some other Star Trek script read, would be fantastic. What I need to suggest to him, and I haven't yet, is that if they do decide to do something, if they do a script read, and I think I know that they did this with Shuttlepod 1, so I want to make sure. The best part about script reads is when you get the original scripts, the ones where things have been cut, so that we all get something new. Even if you've seen the episode a million times over, there's new stuff that you've never seen before because it hit the cutting room floor before the final version. That happened when I was on Star Trek The Cruise. They did Amok Time, which is my favorite TOS episode, and introduced Live Long and Prosper. And Parted From Me, Never Parting is one of my favorite lines of all time. But they did the script read. They did it. They didn't even do a script read. They actually acted it out on stage. And all of a sudden, for as many times as I've seen that episode, there are lines that I know I'd never heard before. And I went, oh my God, this is the original script. This is the uncut, unedited version. And it was awesome. And I know that they did that with Shuttlepod 1. So I hope whatever script they get a hold of to do for this show, they get a hold of the original script unedited. So we all get something new. Which area do I stay at when I am in LA? The Shuttlepod show live is in Burbank. So I like to stay in Burbank. It's great. It's cheaper. I stay in an Airbnb. Actually, last year was the first time I ever used Airbnb. Had some issues, but definitely if you're going to stay somewhere for more than a weekend, you don't want to stay in a hotel. You want to stay somewhere where you can cook your own meals. So that's probably what I'm doing. I like Burbank. It's very suburban compared to like downtown LA. And this girl loves living in her suburbs and just popping into the city when the mood strikes her. So Lasso Con. I love that idea. Magic Lasso. That's awesome. Lasso Con. I love that. You should do that. You should totally make that happen. Yeah, Burbank's great. The other cool thing about Burbank, if nobody has anything else to say about holidays, I think we covered it. It was actually a lot quick. It went a lot quicker than I thought. So I'm happy to talk about Burbank and LA. Burbank's fantastic. Burbank has the original Bob's Big Boy. For those of you that don't know, Bob's Big Boy and Denny's were like the American diner chains, but Big Boy might have been here first. I think Big Boy was there first. And it started in Burbank. It is still there. They have the best French toast on the planet, which I had completely forgotten about. I used to go when I was a kid. There was one near my house growing up. It's closed a million years ago. But when I was out in LA, my mom reminded I said something because I was excited because I liked Bob's Big Boy. But I said to my mom, oh my God, the original Big Boy's right across the street. And she reminded me that about their French toast. So I actually met Melissa Longo for breakfast. We had a very quick I feel bad. I would have loved to have spent more time with Melissa, but Melissa met me for breakfast. And we had planned to go somewhere else. And I was like, can you meet me in Burbank at Bob's Big Boy? And she did. And I ordered the French toast. And I forgot how awesome the French toast is because it's not just dipped in an egg wash. It's dipped in something and fried. So the toast is actually got a crust on it, like an actual crunchy, delicious, probably 1 million calories per slice crust. And it's fan-damn-tastic. And the other thing that was really good there, Melissa got these vegetarian sausage, which was really delicious. Del Taco. I have been to Del Taco twice. Once when I was in Burbank for the Hollywood show, I got breakfast at Del Taco. It was pretty good. Then I went to the Del Taco by the Rio in Las Vegas, and I was sorely disappointed. Lasso, I'm sorry. I know you love Del Taco because of the Netflix series Frankie and Grace. Del Taco just is. I ordered a beef enchilada, a beef burrito, and it was all refried beans. It had like 3 pieces of steak in it. Yes, I think I've heard of that. Thanks, Roy. Thanks for joining us. RAL Productions. If you need anything sound designed, he is an amazing sound engineer. He is awesome, and that's Roy. That is my friend from State College, Pennsylvania. We are Penn State. Very Klingon Christmas. I love that. That definitely should be something that should be on every Trekkie's Christmas wish list, if that is what you celebrate. So Del Taco was this. I'm trying to think where else. I mean, Burbank has some great food. I mean, fried plantains are probably my favorite thing on the planet now. And I had them a couple years ago when I was out visiting LA. My goal in life is to be bi-coastal. My goal in life is to spend as much time in LA as I possibly can. And if I can't move out there, just lots and lots of trips, especially in the winter. I am sitting in my office right now and the window's broken. So it doesn't close all the way. So there's cold air seeping in around my legs. So this is the time when my thoughts turn to walking on the beach in December. Even if I can't go swimming, definitely a walk on the beach in December is something that is on my wish list. Or April. I mean, this is what's funny. Last year, the Shuttlepod Show Live was in February. I was out there wearing shorts as happy as a clam because I wasn't back here freezing my butt off. Meanwhile, there are people that think it's too cold in LA in February. And I'm like, it is not. Bi-coastal goals. Yep, bi-coastal goals. Or as we learned on Disney Plus, there's also such a thing as bi-regeneration for all you Whovians. Sorry, spoiler alert, but if you have not watched the last of the 3 David Tennant Doctor Who specials, not my fault. We all know my rule is 72 hours. From the date of something being dropped to my show, if it is 72 hours or more, then I'm not yelling spoiler alert every time I open my mouth. So the Doctor Who special was amazing. And now there is this thing called bi-regeneration. So it's very interesting. Maybe a little bit of a cheat, but I'm not going to argue with it. And I'll stop there, but I am not arguing with bi-regeneration right now. Very Klingon Christmas. I love that. Lasso. I love the fact that you dropped in tonight. All the leaves are brown and the sky is gray. There you go. It's my theme song. Meatloaf. The one and only Meatloaf actually has a version of California Dreamin'. It's on one of his later CDs. It's not bad. And I'm usually not a remake girl, but I do love my Meatloaf. So does anybody have anything else to say about Star Trek holidays? And the fact that I think it's interesting that the Bajoran holidays actually And it makes sense that the Bajoran holidays seem to have bases in existing religions here on the planet. A little mix, a little tweak, some of the best, that seem to fit with the Bajoran culture, and I love that. I think that's great. I think it's good because I think, again, this was not supposed to be a discussion about religion, but I just think it's great that by the time Deep Space Nine rolled around, they decided to introduce an alien culture that had very deep religious roots. And Brandon Braga said it's more fun to explore it that way, and I think he's right. I definitely think he's right, because then you have a free hand to maybe show the similarities between religions, and I think it's great. And again, I am trying really hard not to get into religion on this show because it's not really where I want to go. But I just, like I said, I really thought it was going to be way more secular, a discussion. But it's just interesting that Star Trek didn't invent more holidays, but the holidays that they did invent, all the Earth holidays they invented revolved around celebrating events as opposed to anything else. So I think that definitely goes back to leaning towards the creator himself, Gene Roddenberry, and his feelings towards the subject. But again, and false prophets, that's something else that Gene Roddenberry had been known about saying, was things about false prophets. So the fact that Star Trek 6, which, if I am not mistaken, not Star Trek 6, sorry, Star Trek 5. Star Trek 5, wasn't that sort of something from a script that was done when he was alive, like the Star Trek Continues, the original Star Trek the Motion Picture? That script in some form existed while Gene was still involved with Star Trek, if I'm not mistaken. Could be wrong, but something's telling me it is. So I just love the whole "what does God want with a starship?" That's probably one of the best lines in Trek, outside of the "amok time parted from me and never parted." So does anybody have anything else they want to say? Like I said, I could sit here all night and just talk about how excited I am about the Shuttle Pod show live, how excited I am for an opportunity to go back out to LA, to see some of my favorite people. But I think actually what I'm going to do right now. Yeah, exactly. What does God want with a starship? And to have it delivered in that William Shatner-esque manner is always, where she's like, excuse me. I haven't watched that in a while. I actually think I have that. I think I was gifted, I think a couple years ago, I was gifted a box set. I'll have to see if that was the box. I know I have Star Trek box sets. I just don't remember. Where or what. Okay, so it is time now for a bit of a commercial. Because you still have time to order for that Star Trek fan on your list and for that Klingon fan on your list. We have actually put together the links for you. Gene was still alive. He passed away after Undiscovered Country. Thanks, Robert. Thanks. My timeline is still okay, cool. But I still stand by my, even if he was alive, I still stand by my thing that it was an old script from back when they originally talked about doing Star Trek the Motion Picture. So I am sharing links. These are links to JG's book that will get you an autographed copy. These are direct links that JG will see. Oh, sorry. I don't know why it took me off of NX7062. I'm going to do this again just because. These are the links to JG's book, but not just any JG book. These are the direct links to JG. JG will get the book, or you'll pay you. Well, let's try this again. They're Square links. You click over to Square, you place your order. There's a notes section. In the notes section, you're welcome, Dave. In the notes section, you just put what you want him to say in the autograph. He will autograph it for you as the note says, and then order the book from him, and he will get it to you autographed. I think you still have time to do this for the holidays if you act fast, because again, this isn't ordering it off of Amazon. This is ordering it from JG himself, so that he will sit and autograph the book for you. And it's a great present for that Klingon lover on your list. as well as a present to JG because you're helping support the novel. So please, if you know somebody, please feel free to copy the link and share it. Or if you want to buy it like Dave, I hope. If you want to purchase something for yourself, please do so. JG is ready with Sharpie in hand. And like I said, he is definitely going to be doing the audio version of the book, just not as soon as we had hoped. So the audio version is not going to be ready by the holidays. But hopefully soon after. He and I are talking about when he's going to be able to do that so that I can let the rest of the world know when that's going to be available, and you can download that on Amazon as well, I'm sure, once it's up. Robert, thank you. I appreciate that. That's right. Robert was the first recipient of those links because he has his thumb on the pulse of the Klingon groups. Because he's been because you have your pulse on the finger of all the Klingon groups. So I was hoping that some of your Klingon buddies would be interested in Confessions of a Klingon Linebacker. Has Signature King, Tony Fett, Shamalo, or East Dubuque Bridge been in here lately? I haven't seen them for a long time. To answer your question, Lasso, not that I am anybody's answering service, I have not seen Tony Fett in a King's Age. Jean Malo, I believe, popped in last week when John Billingsley and Bonnie were here. East Dubuque Bridge, not since the last time he was here, which was a few shows ago. Lasso. So honestly, I can't put my finger on it on when the bridge was here last, but I do love the East Dubuque Bridge. I really do. One of these days, if I ever have a chance to talk to Kate Mulgrew, I'll have to ask her about the East Dubuque Bridge because she is from Magic Lasso's neck of the woods. So I'm definitely going to have to ask her. But again, guys, tune in next week. I have no idea what's going on. You know me. I'll just think of something else to talk about. But just note, I am going to be taking the 25th and the 1st off because God knows when I'm actually I think I kind of know what I might be doing for New Year's Eve, and if that's the case, I may be traveling on the 1st. So if that is true, then I definitely don't want to drive home and have a show. I love you guys, but when I road trip, I'd like to be on nobody else's schedule but mine. So, and you never know. You know what? The one thing I've learned about road tripping is the best laid plans. The last time I was in State College, Roy was out of town. It was so funny. Everybody I knew except the friends whose party I was going to and the friends that were hosting me for the weekend, everybody else that I knew and wanted to see was out of town. Hey, Annika, thank you so much for dropping in just in time to say hi and bye, actually. But no, I appreciate you being here. Always good to see you. Anyway, so the big plan on Sunday for me to leave was to go grab a bite with a friend and hit the happy trails. It took us at least an hour just to find a place that we could eat. At least an hour where we could find a place to eat. So that was definitely not in my plans to be running around State College in the neighboring town of Boalsburg, just to have time to sit down and talk to my friend. But yeah, so my plans to leave got pushed way back. If you're asking me, Annika, where I'm headed, or are you asking Dave? But if you're asking me where I'm headed, if I go out of town for New Year's, it is probably going to be back up to State College, PA. I lived there for 10 years. I love it. It's great. It's fantastic. Some of my closest friends still live up there. So I'm looking for and some Trekkies. I have some really good friends, and I've met a couple Trekkies when I was at their Halloween party. But yeah, if I do anything for New Year's Eve in State College is great. It's quiet. There's this really cool tradition that they have where you write your resolutions down and then you burn them. And hopefully I can do asking about yes, I was asking about your track. Haha, see what you did there, Annika. Haha, that's good. That's good. Asking about my trek. Yes, my trek will be up to State College, weather permitting. That is my other challenge right now. I used to have 2 cars. I used to have a Mustang and a truck. Truck for bad weather because Mustangs do not like bad weather, no matter how good your snow tires are. And if you were here for the Peter Macon, show, we ended up talking about cars for a little bit. I love my Mustang, but I was literally told after my mechanic took a look at her, after I bought her, I do things in reverse. I buy my cars and then take them to my mechanic. But he said, no, they suck in the snow. And I'm like, well, yeah, but he's like, no. But no, I kept saying, but, he said, no, they suck in the snow. So, unfortunately, right after I got her, I also wrecked my SUV. I love that SUV and it was my fault. And I literally ended up having to scrap her. So, weather permitting, God knows what the weather's going to be like. Weather permitting, I am heading to State College at the end of the month. So, Roy, if you are still around, I hope you are going to be around for New Year's because that is my intention to head up to State College again. It's 3.5 hours. It's an easy trip. It's one of my favorite treks. It's one of my favorite treks because, like I said, I just have so many amazing friends to see up there. And for those of you that don't know, I love New England too. New England has a great fall, but so does Central Pennsylvania, and it's always so beautiful to drive up there. So I was lucky to drive up in October before everything fell off the trees. But like I said, I'm really looking forward to possibly going back up there to celebrate New Year's. Oh, well, then I guess you're going to be there. Yay! Oh, Roy's got a job. Roy's not leaving because he's doing music. Roy's got a job, so he's not going anywhere. Let's see, what is Annika saying? My 1993 Jeep Cherokee was deemed a death trap a year ago. Ouch. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Yeah, Jeeps don't do anything for me. But I'm sorry, that sucks. That sucks big time. Let's see. That sucks big time. I know what it's like to love a car and then have to give it up or wreck it. The last 2 Mustangs I've had have died in accidents, unfortunately. My first one I sold because it needed somebody to refurbish it because it was a 91 5-liter and it needed more TLC and more mechanical knowledge than I had. So got her refurbished, got myself into a 99 anniversary edition. You name your see, I name my cars too. Annika names her cars. So I had an anniversary edition. I totaled it. I had the one I got after that, my 06, I just totaled in April. Maud. Oh my God, that's so awesome. I have some really good friends that love their Subarus. I'm not a Subaru, like, I'm very specific with my aesthetics with my cars. Very specific. And I love my Mustangs. I think they're gorgeous. But when I'm looking for an SUV, I'm like old school, like big boxy brutes of SUVs. I had a Mountaineer, and then the one that I just wrecked was a Lincoln Aviator. And they were fantastic. I love that big bulky. I like the big, and I know they're gas hogs. I know they're terrible for the environment, but I love them. Yes, I was okay. And thankfully, knock on wood, I have had some accidents in my life, but thankfully I've never been seriously injured. Usually what ends up getting injured is my my cars. Like I said, the last 3 things I've done, I've totaled 3 cars in the last couple of years. Well, no, I take that back. I wrecked the 99, and then I had the 06 Mustang for like 10, 15 years. I had the 06 Mustang for a good long time. She and I had a really good run together, about 10 years or so, until somebody stopped short in front of me and I sort of slid into the back of the car in front of me. Unfortunately, with the age and high mileage on the car, I knew when it happened that my insurance company was going to total her out. It was just, I knew it was coming. And then, like I said, I sort of drove the truck when I shouldn't have, and the wheel cracked off. And my mechanic, who was the best in the world, was like, time to scrap her. So I scrapped her. Let's see. I'll never love a vehicle the way I did Blanche. Look up 1993 Cherry in white. I think you might appreciate the boxiness. All right, are you ready for this? I will, but I got news for you. I have a limit to my boxiness. This is how picky I am about my cars. Mountaineers and the Lincoln were boxy, but they had nice rounded edges. They had softer edges. I know those Jeeps, and they're actually the older ones are a little too squared off for me. I'll look it up, but I think that's one of the ones that's a little too squared off for me. The other thing too is, and I don't know if anybody, thanks, Annika. All right, you know what? We're here. You guys, I love you guys. Let's take a poll. Has anybody ever not wanted to buy a car because they knew somebody they couldn't stand who owned it? Not obviously, not buy that particular car, but somebody that drove X model of a car. And because you didn't like that person, you never wanted to drive that model of a car ever. Like, almost if somebody handed one to you for free, you still might not want to drive it. I have two of those. I'm not going to go into the backstories about them, but Toyota RAV4s and Jeep Cherokees and Buick SUVs, those three cars, I know people that I never liked that enough, that just so viscerally got under my skin that I associate them with the vehicles they drove, so I don't want to drive a similar vehicle. Yeah, those are fun cars. I swore that I was never going to own another Ford product besides Mustangs, but I was cash poor and I really wanted an SUV, so I didn't have to take my Mustang out in bad weather, and because I had pets and I wanted to be able to yeah, see, exactly. I mean, Dave, it wasn't that visceral. Like, I totally get that. It wasn't that visceral, but it's the same kind of thing. So thank you, Dave. Tell your mom that she is not alone, that there are other people out there that feel the same way about cars because of the people that they know that have owned specific models. But I didn't have a lot of money on me, but I knew because I had pets and I wanted to be able, and my dog at one point, I thought I was going to need to take him to the emergency vet in the middle of a snowstorm, and I didn't have a car that would have done it. Oh my God, that's awesome. The Merc had the name Dorothy Zbornak. That's so awesome. I guess you guys are B. Arthur fans, which is totally fine. She was awesome. So that's what made me want to get my first SUV, but I didn't have a lot of money. So I ended up getting a 97 Mountaineer that I loved. My mom used to drive Mountaineers, the first SUVs that I was ever in on a consistent basis. My mom went from station wagons to Mountaineers. She leased 4 or 5 at least Mountaineers. And the only reason she's not still in them is because they stopped making them. She literally was in them until they stopped making them. And now she drives a Volvo SUV, which they're great. But they're low to the ground. And when I drive an SUV, like Annika said, I like to be up. I like to be above the ground, which is another reason why I like the big boxy ones. All the cool ones are low to the ground. Would not mind, though, if I could find a Mercedes that I could afford or a Porsche that I could afford. But my mechanic has basically said, do not get those. I will not work on them. So called Hillary as an Edmund, but my step-pop didn't like the Clinton at the time. Oh, got you. So, yep. There you go. Huge. All of my cars actually are named after horses. Or, oops, I have to stop doing that. Hold on, guys. For some reason, the cord for my video camera seems to be getting in the way of my feet lately. So, there we go. So this is the second week in a row. I think I knocked it down. So I've named Black Stallion series was one of my favorite series as a kid growing up. So all of my cars have been named after horses from the Black Stallion series so far. I'm running out of names though, because there aren't that many. I'm running out of names. And it also helps that my cars are black. Gifts are all wrapped, paper, scissors, and tape dropped on the floor many, many times during the process. Yes, but you finished it, and I am glad that I kept you company. That we all kept you company while we were doing it. Oh, that's cool. Shadowfax is a very cool name. Foresters are nice. I have friends that have Outbacks. I have friends that like absolutely swear by their Outbacks. Yeah, they Subaru doesn't lie when they say that their car, like their generational cars because they're around for forever. Subaru does not lie. I just don't like Subarus. I just don't like Subarus. Yeah, happy Hanukkah to anybody that's celebrating. Absolutely, Hanukkah. You missed Dave Gregory was saying Merry Trexmas and Happy Hanukkah. So if anybody out there is celebrating Hanukkah, yeah, they are. They are. Like I said, my friend has one he absolutely loves. He also actually drives a Mini Cooper too. He has an Outback and a Mini Cooper. Last couple of times I've seen him, it's been the Mini Cooper. Yes, last we are, but my new Mustang is black on black. It's a 2014, black exterior, black interior, black rag top. Always have the rag top. And she's the first. I've had Sith Lady as my license plate for. She's the third car to have Sith Lady as her license plate, and it's the one that really, really fits. So, so I do have themes for my cars, and the Mustangs were always Star Wars, and the trucks were always Superman. Because somebody gave me a little Superman action figure, and so I ended up, for some reason, I got it, and I had the truck, and I threw it on the dashboard of the truck. So, so my other cars themes have always been Superman. I had like Superman floor mats, Superman seat covers, Superman steering wheel cover, the whole 9 yards. Probably love her more if I hadn't been so attached to. Yep, I get that. Vanity plates are the coolest thing. I wanted to get a vanity plate for the truck that said I figured out how to do kneel before Zod in short enough, just enough letter. Like I could figure out how to do kneel before Zod and make it work on a license plate. But now I'm kind of glad that I didn't, because I had to turn the plates back into the state, and both of my SUVs just had basic Jersey plates on them. I went through an entire thing with holding on to my Sith Lady plates until I got the new Mustang. I had the plates. It took me about a month to find a new car. So I had those plates. I was not turning them in because I knew that they were going to go on my next car. He's a Superman super freak and a Dixieland drummer. Oh, that's very cool. That's very cool. Yeah, I am. Lasso will tell you. Lasso will tell you. Yeah, Lasso and I have had some very interesting conversations about Superman. My Superman is Christopher Reeve. Lasso appreciates Christopher Reeve. In fact, oh, that's the other thing I didn't tell you guys about. All right, we got time, right? Because it's my show. So not this past Saturday, but the Saturday before, and I didn't get to talk to you about it because obviously I was making time for my guest last week. There was a one-day convention celebrating the world of Sid and Marty Krofft. It was outside of Valley Forge. So I went. Do I have pictures? No. Do I have pictures? No. Because I was hanging out with Wesley Ure and Kathy Coleman from Land of the Lost, I was helping them because I do not know how to go to a convention and just attend it. So I ended up hanging out with them and helping them take pictures in their rafts. And Wesley, they bring a raft because anybody's seen Land of the Lost, the waterfall thing. So they bring a raft. And you know what? This light is what's killing the green screen. There we go. So they bring a raft and people take pictures. So I was helping them out, which was a lot of fun. And it was the best way to spend time with Kathy and Wesley because I only get to see them usually once a year at STLV. But I did have a chance to walk around the floor a couple times, and I found this for $10. And I know green screens are terrible for showing things. It's a Superman. You know what? I could probably take it out. Lasso probably knows. Yeah, I know, Lasso. You were supposed to remind me about that so I could head over to the comic book store and get myself my copies. Thanks. For anybody that ever goes into a con, there have been Batman 66, Wonder Woman, Bionic that are based on the TV shows, and the artwork on those comics is amazing. The same way the Superman comics that are based on the movie Superman's, the artwork's incredible. Let's see if this is better. It is a magazine. It is a movie magazine for Superman 2. I'm not even going to turn it around. So General Zod's on here. I can't wait to actually sit and read it. But $10. This was the only thing I bought. This was the only thing I wanted. Oh, look. Now you can see it better. Hold on. So it's a whole magazine DC magazine dedicated to the immortal legend lives on in this spectacular collector's album. So I can't wait to sit down and read it. But yes, Superman is one of my other ultimate fandoms. Well, hello, Slack Twaddle. Welcome, welcome, welcome. See, look, I am so glad that we found other things to just ramble on about to give Slack Twaddle a chance to get in here. So glad you could join us. So, have you read the Superman 78 yet, Lasso? Is it good? I mean, I would just do it for the artwork because the last series that they came out with, starring Christopher Reeve, was fantastic. And I say starring Christopher Reeve because that was the face that they used for Superman. And I think I've said this before on a couple different episodes. That was basically the only reason I went to go see The Flash in the theaters. Was because I wanted to see Christopher Reeve on the big screen again, and it was perfect and worth every... Yes, exactly. Late is better than never because the show is still happening, so I'm glad that you made it in time. And yes, Ramble On should be actually... That should be the theme song to this show, now that I'm thinking about it, except that it probably gets slapped down for copyright infringements. And rightly so. Oh, there you go. Let me know how it is later, Lasso, my friend. Except I would get slapped down for copyright infringements. And like I said, rightly so. I don't have a problem with YouTube being on top of copyright infringements because honestly, I would rather have... This is how I feel about it. Yes, sometimes they do take a sledgehammer to do the job of a fly swatter because it's AI based and not human based. But like I said, well, hello, East Dubuque Bridge. Thanks so much for joining us. We were just talking about your stanchions, whatever, your supports. That's the word I was looking for. Your supports must be burning. Hi, Travis. No worries. I'm glad you're here now. Thanks for joining. Is the bridge getting decked out for the holidays? I know some bridges do. What's that movie original play with Reeve and Michael Caine? Okay. I think you meant Michael Caine and you're dictating, and it's called it's not called Mousetrap. Is it? Death Trap. It's called Death Trap. Also stars Diane Keaton? No, Diane. There's another Diane, and I can't remember her last name. It's Death Trap, and it's fabulous. And anybody who has not seen Death Trap needs to watch it. Christopher Reeve, Michael Caine, and Diane Cannon. Diane Cannon. I'm pretty sure that's the Diane I'm thinking of. Diane Cannon. It was fabulous. There's very little Christopher Reeve that I have not watched. That I haven't watched. And that's definitely up there. Somewhere in Time is fantastic. Every time that I watch the Avengers Endgame, yeah, that's the last one. Every time I watch Avengers Endgame, when they're talking about time travel movies and he mentions Somewhere in Time, I rewind it because I just want to hear Don Cheadle say Somewhere in Time again. It was a fantastic movie. Not too long before his accident, he did a series with Tony Todd called Black Fox, which I found. I own it on DVD. It was great. It was a mini series. It was supposed to turn into a TV series. It's funny. All right, so train of thought got a little derailed, but I think it was based on something that somebody said. I'm scrolling back vanity plates. Maybe not. I was just rambling. But Christopher Reeve's definitely like the one and only Superman in my book. I don't like George. I mentioned that I think on the podcast, on the show. I'm trying not to call this a podcast anymore. I'm going to call it a show. I'm following the Shuttle Pod's lead. The show with oh my god, the owner of Cool Water Productions, and Derek Mackey. Please, Derek, I hope you don't watch this. Derek Mackey. I thought that that George was a dick. Just the way that they wrote. I'm sorry. His Clark Kent was a dick. I didn't like his version of Clark Kent, but that was the writers, and that was the 1950s. So there is that. I just thought Christopher Reeve was such a perfect Superman. I thought Brandon Roush sucked. And I liked Henry Cavill. I thought he deserved to wear the blue tights. I definitely liked Henry Cavill. I thought he fit the role in so many different ways. I think Amy Adams as Lois Lane is terrible. Yeah, I thought she was terrible. I thought she was a terrible choice. I like her. I like her as an actor. I like her in other roles. I just thought she was a terrible choice for Lois Lane. And again, that is never completely the actor's fault. A lot of that just has to do with the writing. But I just thought, but in that case, I thought, and at least let her dye her hair. This is my thought on Amy Adams. And I know Lasso's heard me say this a few times. If you were going to pick her to play Lois Lane, if that is really your choice to do that, make her dye her hair so she doesn't look like Lana Lang. Oh my God, Village of the Damned was so good. And this is what I have to say about Village of the Damned. And I was literally having this conversation, I think it was actually over Thanksgiving with my sister. Village of the Damned, you had Christopher Reeve, Mark Hamill, Kirstie Alley, and Michael Parr. So you're looking at Superman, Star Wars, Star Trek, and Greatest American Hero all in one movie. But yes, it was really, I thought it was a really great. Oh, I'll have to try and find that, except I am not a big fan of Howard Stern. If you're talking about Howard Stern, not a big fan, but for that, I would look that up. Yeah, the accident was tragic. Did not know that they were friends. But again, love the crossover. That makes sense. They probably both came up in Hollywood together. For those of you that don't know, George Reeves, Christopher Reeve, George Reeves. There's an S. George Reeves was actually in Gone with the Wind. For those of you that did not know that, he was actually in Gone with the Wind. Hollywoodland, great movie. Ben Affleck, perfect choice. Perfect choice for playing George in that. But Hollywoodland's a fantastic movie. If you've ever wanted to find out exactly what happened to George and the mystery surrounding his death, which is still a mystery, but it's great to watch the whole thing, everything that leads up to it. Yeah, I knew you would, Lasso, because those of us that know Christopher Reeve movies, well, for those of us that know the comics, Lana Lang had red hair. Lana Lang has always had red hair. Superman 3, which was not a great movie, but I did just get the 4K Blu-ray. Lana was in Superman 3 and it was Annette O'Toole. Perfect redhead, perfect casting. Amy would have made a fantastic Lana Lang if that is the direction they wanted to go in, if they wanted her for Lois. It's not, I mean, what actors don't dye their hair for a role? So, you know, unless for whatever reason I think, all right, this is the weirdest tangent I think I have ever gone on, and that's saying a lot. I think one of the actors, if anybody's watched I want to say the original NCIS, I almost said CSI, the original NCIS, the one with Mark Harmon, that, by the way, Connor Trinneer was in an episode of. Their lab tech, the girl with the pitch black hair and the pigtails. If I remember correctly, obviously that was not her natural hair color, and her hair ended up falling out. She had a really bad reaction to that dye after using it over and over and over and over and over again. But I think for a movie role, there are ways to get around if you're hyperallergenic, but just saying. I can find it for you. I found it when I was all about George Takei for a few weeks. Oh, well, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You need a break. Yeah, that would be great, Annika. If you want to just shoot it to me on social media, I would listen to that. I would be very. Yes, I think that's who it was. I literally only watched the NCIS episode that Connor was in. I'm not going to lie. I used to watch NCIS Los Angeles, but yeah, I think that's her name. Yeah, the lab tech, really pale skin, real cute. She did a couple crossover episodes, but yeah, I think I think that's why she quit. She leave the show because I thought I had heard somewhere that she was just having a really bad reaction to that hair dye. Yes, Annette O'Toole is fabulous. And this one's for you, Magic Lasso. The second time I saw Annette O'Toole, besides the first time I saw her, she was Lana Lang in Superman 3. Second time I saw her was when she was in a really bad TV movie adaptation of Barry Manilow's Copacabana. It was the second time I saw her. She played Lola the showgirl with yellow feathers in her hair and the whole 9 yards. And Lasso knows what I'm talking about. That goes back. That's for that $1,500 comment you made earlier, Lasso. Okay, so we have talked about, gosh, just proving that I can talk about anything, anytime, anywhere. About, what was it, 20 minutes ago? I'm like, yeah, I think we're coming to an end. And here we are talking about cars and naming cars. Who has not named a car? Seriously, exactly. It's Lasso's go-to karaoke song, and I have seen him do it. Lola the Showgirl. Yes, East Dubuque Bridge. So yeah, seriously, who doesn't name their car? I know people. Stephanie, the owner of Trek Long Island, just got a white car, and she's had it completely decked out like the Galileo. She got the stripes and everything. It looks fantastic. Was Barry Manilow actually in it? He probably was. I don't remember. I just remember Annette O'Toole. Yes, Janine, as opposed to the Kinks Lola. Absolutely. You've never named a car, not even when you were a kid, Nancy? See, that's what we did it as a kid. My dad's Dodge Dart, his 74 Dart was named Dumbo. And I can't remember if that was Dumbo 1 or Dumbo 2, because before that he had a blue Volkswagen Fastback. I can't remember if that car had a name, but I do know that that was Dumbo. And honestly, I loved that car. I really loved that car, that Dodge Dart. And I really don't remember the other names. I know we named the other cars in the family, but that's the one I remember. So I've been naming cars. I've pretty much been naming cars since I had them. My very first car was an 84 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme that my grandmother gave me. Freaking that car, I cried when I had to give her up. I cried when I had to give up that car, but I was living in State College. It didn't have fuel injection. It had a carburetor. And even after it got rebuilt, it still had issues, so that if it was a really cold morning, I literally had to pop my hood, grab a screwdriver, and pop the carburetor open just to get the car to start. And once it was warm and the carburetor unstuck, I could drive it. But it was just, oh my God. I had to carry a screwdriver around with me, because the car sat in one place too long. There was a chance that I wasn't going to be able to get her started when we were out and about. I loved that car. It was dark autumn maple. It was this really pretty burgundy color. I bet the East Dubuque Bridge sees cars all the time. The East Dubuque Bridge, do you have a favorite car that that you've seen, that that's run down your road, or however you want to look at it? It's been a long road. There you go. But yeah, so the car I have now is named Shaitan, which is Arabic for Satan, which is from the Black Stallion books. I just thought the name was really cool for a black on black car. So, red ones. Oh, there you go. It was really cool for my black on black car. I think the name fits. Plus, it makes it really easy when you connect to the Bluetooth if you name your car, because then you just put your car's name as the Bluetooth device. So you can always see really quickly if the car and your phone are connecting. Just saying. All right, guys. I think we have gone off on yes, the son of the Black Stallion's name was Satan. And see, watch this. All right, don't get me started. I've read almost all of them. I have not read the Black Stallion books that Stephen Farley has written. He's taken over for his father. Walter Farley wrote the original. Stephen has taken over. The son of the Black Stallion's name was Satan. The reason that they named the son of the Black Stallion Satan was because the Black Stallion's original name, before he was kidnapped from his desert home and found by Alec Ramsey, his original name was Shaitan. So when the Black Stallion's Sheikh owner gifted the firstborn son of the Black to Alec Ramsey in the book titled The Son of the Black Stallion, they thought the perfect name for that horse would be Satan. And that is where the son of the Black Stallion got his name from. And his father's name was Shaitan. I just like saying Shaitan. I think it's really cool. Magic also, have you heard the Hanukkah version of Copacabana? That's interesting, Lasso. I think we might have to just hang out and wait to see your reply. That works too, Nancy. If your Bluetooth just calls your car a car, that absolutely works too. Here's one for you, Janine. My truck, the one that I just had to scrap, her name was Black Minx. Called her Black Minx. Which is, like I said, which is why I'm literally running out of Black Stallion horse names. I had a Bonfire, I had a Flame, and it has to fit. Like my first Mustang was red, so I named it Flame. The Mustang that I had that was silver with a red interior, I called Bonfire, because it had black points. And this car is black on black, so it's Chitan. So there you go. Janine's a fan. Black Stallions Philly. Ding, 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 ding. She wins. I think he's had other daughters. I really probably just need to like Black Stallions children or something and see if there's any names that I missed. Because I really don't want to go back around. I save my pets are named after other fandoms, as you all know. I have Star Trek, I have Star Wars. My latest kitty, his name is Drew, after a character in the Linda Carter series, Linda Carter Wonder Woman series. So I'm trying to think. Out of all of my cats right now, oh yeah, and I have General Zod for Superman. I have one cat, my little girl cat that I got a million years ago. Her name's Chachki. But besides that, all of my cats are named after Yes, somebody said Wonder Woman because that's where Drew's named after. That's who Drew's named after. Drew's named after one of my favorite characters in Wonder Woman, who was Drusilla, who was Wonder Woman's little sister, who was in 3 of my favorite episodes. So all right, guys. I think we are good. Like I said, next week, it is completely up in the air. If you are a patron of the show, which I would love to see, would love the support. If any of you are interested in becoming a patron, there is the QR code. If anybody's interested in becoming a patron and supporting the show and helping me out in the new year, like I said, my office needs some updating very badly to make the show just a little bit easier and a little more comfortable for me while I'm sitting here. Oh, that's so cute, Rex Roofer. That is adorable, Annika. I love that. I'm not gonna steal it, but because I don't know if my dog's name was Anakin. So if you'd like to become a patron, that would be great because patrons get entrance into the NX7062 at Pajem Facebook page, which is where you can suggest show topics. And I will consider doing them, or show guests, and I will try and see if I know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody so I can get them on. Anyway, so tune in next week for the very last show of the year, like I said, because I'm going to take a couple weeks off. So be sure to tune in next week. Hey, that's totally cool. I totally respect that. Absolutely 100%. I think that was really fantastic. So yeah, so like I said, next week is the last show of the new year. If you guys have any suggestions for topics and you happen to be a patron, drop me a note in the NX7062 at Pajem, and I will see if I can make it happen. Until we meet again next week, thank you guys as always for coming out. I love it. I would not be here without you, so I so appreciate everybody who is here watching the show. And until next week, please remember to live long and prosper.
This is Connor Turner. You've been listening to the NX7062 podcast with